Okay, so I've kind of jumped ahead a little bit. What we're doing by way of review is we've created the rectangle around here, around our vehicle, and then we've created another rectangle around the cab portions here, and then we've used this measuring device just to measure our distances. So we're making an exact replica. We're taking this rectangle here and we're drawing it on here. We're taking it here like this, and then we're putting it on here. So I've used this proportional divider, this compass as it were, to recreate this basic outline of the Corvette. Okay, and so that's step number one, is creating the envelope. A lot of times they call this the envelope, because if I was going to mail this out there, I'd slide it in the envelope and bam zoom, we'd be ready to rock and roll. Okay, so the next thing is to take our double check, and we've double checked, we've done our measurements, so we know that this is correct and that the Corvette goes inside of these boxes. The next thing we need to do is maybe divide up and maybe find where some details are on those. For example, I think it would be very helpful to know where the bumper is, the top of the bumper. And so the top of the bumper is right here. I'm going to put it in red. It goes across here as this line. And I could look at it. If I don't have a proportional divider, I'm looking at it, the distance from here to here and from here to here. I bet you it's about half. If I did this magic measuring device here like this, and I did this, you'll notice that the top of the bumper is halfway between the two on this one. So I could do one of two things. One, I could eyeball it like this and say that looks to be about half. Or, since I have this cool device here, I could do this, and then I can measure it like that to find out where the halfway point is on those. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a horizontal line in, and so now I know where the top of the bumper is. Okay, pretty cool. That's a good thing to know. And so let's see what else we can figure out on here on things that will be really helpful to know. It's kind of in darkness on that, but you can kind of see the bottom is right here. What is this is right here? There's this the place where this comes down, right? The bottom fender portion. Maybe if we knew where that was, that would be helpful. And so it's angled. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take right here, and this is the bottom mark, and then I'm going to go out here like this, out to the side. Now you can't see it. Where's that white pencil? Let's use that white pencil. Maybe it would help. And so right here is the bottom of this little grill feature here. And if we extend that out to the side like that. And so if I knew where that line was, that would be way cool. So I could do one of two ways on that one. I could either, well, what is the relationship? This looks like about a third. If I'm measuring from the top of the bumper to the bottom of the thing here, that distance up is about a third, right? If I put them right here, that one to that one to that one is about a third. But if I don't want to do that, let's do this. I use my compass like that, and then I come over here like this, and I put a little bit of a mark right here like that, and that is where that line is going to be. And so I'm putting in a guideline so I know where to do my drawing. And that's our steps. In a grid system, we use those guidelines to try and create a grid system, that sort of thing. We're just doing the random things that will be helpful for us to create this drawing with those. Let's do this. I think it would be helpful to know where this line is here, and this line is here on our car. And so where these guys are right here, I think that would be helpful. Because then when I'm trying to encase this little part here, when I'm doing that drawing, I'll know where it is. So let's take our magic divider here, step it up like that. Now, I could go and say, and kind of guess and say, well, that distance, it looks like a fifth on that one. Maybe. No, it's more than a fifth on that one. Anyway, so I'm just going to measure this distance with the magic divider. And it's going to come in here like this, and it's going to go right here, and so that's where that is. And then I'm going to measure this distance between the two, and then I'm going to go here, and put that in. And then just for fun, to just double check, I'm going to measure this distance and see if that's correct. And notice it is. And so now I can put a guideline in right here. And so that would be a helpful thing, right? What about, eventually we're going to need to draw this fender thing right down here. I'm curious how far in that is. So I'm looking for this place right here on that. I'm looking for that mark right there on that. So how far in is that? And so I'm going to put this little marker right there, and I'm going to take this right in here, and I'm going to put that little mark right there. And so I know that this is the distance in on the fender on that. Let's do the same thing to the other side. And so this one looks like it's a little bit narrower, maybe in about that far. And so if I measure in here, I'm just going to put a little mark like that so I know where that piece is going. If I wanted to, I could take a diagonal here. What about that? Let's do that. Let's make a line like this. Let's make just a diagonal line from this corner to this corner here. Now that's not the mark that's going to be on there, but it's a great guideline. And so let's put that guideline right here like this. Okay? And then let's do the same thing over here on this side. And so that's our guideline. And then this one was from here, right? It was from this point here down to here like that. And so that's that guideline. Let's measure in. How far in is the roofy section here? Now this is an interesting one here because when we're looking at the top of the roof, it's curved, right? And so when I'm measuring in, if I measure in right there, is the mark I'm looking for. And so that's where the corners of the cab are right there. And so let's measure that. And then we can measure that in here and put a little dot there. And then let's go over to this one, and it is just a little bit smaller. And so we put that here like that. Now let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Let's make some more marks here that will be helpful for us. How wide are my tires? Can you even see the tires? You can't really see the tires, so let's not worry about that. What about, this is a good measurement here. You'll notice as the fender comes in like this, it drops down a little bit, right? They drop down about, how far do they drop down? I'm going to measure that thing right here. So I'm going to measure from the cab corner thing, the where this comes down right here, on how far the fender drops down. Right there. And so from here, it drops down to there. So I'm going to put in a little guideline like this between those two marks. So in other words, from here to here, like that. And then I also want to know what this one does, like that. And so that drops down about like that, and about like that. And so that little mark is right there. Now remember, these are not finished lines. These are just guidelines that we're using on those. We'll do finished lines later on with those. And so we'll show how to do that. Okay, where else would be cool to have a mark to know? Oh, this is probably a good one here. How far in? Can you see how this little line comes down here? Let's do this. I need a guideline that looks like this. It comes from this corner and hits that piece right there. Because this is right here like this. This guideline right here. Okay? That comes down is kind of the side of the thing. And so let's measure, since it's coming from there, how far in that is. It's going to go that far. And it's going to go in that far, right here, right? And so now I can draw a guideline in like this, a guideline. Now the thing you're going to start to notice is all of a sudden your car is starting to take shape. It's starting to look similar, right? Now it looks a little more boxy still, right? Because we're just dealing with straight lines right now, because that's all we wanted to deal with. There's another guideline. Let's measure that distance. Boom. And then we're going to measure that one in here. Goes to right there. And so that guideline is this one. And we can just continue on with some of our measurements on our stuff. Eventually I'm going to measure the hood on how far down these things are and some of these interior lines, but that's not the structure I'm necessarily looking for at this moment. I think at this time, so that's my basic boxy, boxed in look for guidelines that have been set up, which will help me to create my drawing. And so that's kind of a good place. I'm going to do a